We're going to go through some of the general items list, and I'm going to start right at the top with a first aid kits. Now, we're only going to provide one per family. Even if it's a two-story home, we're only going to get you one first aid kit. And when we ship it, we ship a kit that's intact, that meets the requirements. And we're going to also ship a ACE bandage that might arrive separately, but the family needs to know that that's part of the first aid kit. If the family uses something in the kit before they have their inspection, then it's kind of on the family to replace that item.
The next item is the tub shower mat. I've actually changed to providing non-slip tub treads that come in a package of 18 strips. A family can adhese them to the bottom of the tub. If you prefer a mat, you can ask, but the tub treads will make the surface non-slippable and be the perfect solution for that safety requirement.
Fire extinguishers. Okay, we're going to send out the 2A 10BC fire extinguisher that is required, so you don't need to list that. That's the only ones we purchase. And it's we're going to send you one per level of the home. So if there's a 2-level home, then we can send you 2, but please don't ask for 2 if it's a single level home.
Smoke alarms. Please see the LSI guide for the specifics on where those are required. We are happy to provide as many as the family needs, but we do ask that you look up the information as to what rooms require those.
The CO alarms. Now, this is sometimes confusing because people confuse them with smoke alarms, but it's very important to know that you only need a CO alarm if there is gas, like a gas stove, or if you have gas in the home, or if you have a fireplace or wood burning stove, anything that you're burning wood or that utilizes gas, then you will need a CO alarm. And you really only need it for example, if it's a gas furnace that's doing a 2-level home, then we'll get 2 of those CO alarms.
If you have a single-story home, you would only need 1 CO alarm if they have a wood burning device or gas appliance.
Right. If there's no gas going to the home and they don't have a fireplace, they don't need one.
Okay, car seats. This is a complicated one. If you do not know the height and weight of the child, please do not put in a request for a car seat until you get that information. All foster children are being seen regularly by physicians. There's a height and weight chart in somebody's file somewhere. So find out how much that child weighs, how old they are, and how tall they are so that we can get the safest car seat possible for them.
And we're not going to probably purchase those $400 really fancy dancy ones.
That's why it's important for us to know the height and weight. And also, as convenient as it would be to have 2 car seats for one child so that you don't have to move them from car to car, we only provide 1 car seat per foster child.
The next item is your lock boxes for your medications. So medications do need to be locked. And what we send is a toolbox. It's important that the family knows that because sometimes they're confused. And even though we tell them in an email that we're shipping them a toolbox to put their medicines in, sometimes it just gets confusing for the family. We will send a padlock as well, so you don't need to ask for that. But please let us know what size the family needs. If it's someone that has quite a few medications, they might need a larger box. Or if it's a big family with lots of people, a larger box, or maybe 2 small boxes. We're happy to provide those for you. So, but please give us an idea of what to buy. If you don't tell us, we're just going to buy a medium size and hope it works. If their medications need to be refrigerated, a couple knocks down on our list is the refrigerator magnet bags. And it's just this little zip pouch that you can put the medicines in and put them in the refrigerator, and it doesn't take up so much of the fridge space. So if they have medicines that need to be refrigerated, that's just request one of those bags. Those are going to be shipped directly from Jenny. They're not going to be shipped through Walmart or Amazon. We have a provider that gives them to us, and you can see the small little lock on there as well that comes with them. So they do need to be locked, just like the toolbox needs to be locked.
Okay, speaking of locks, your toxins also need to be locked, the family's toxins. So we provide a large, it's the black 27-gallon tub with either a yellow or a red plastic lid, it has the slits all around it, and two padlocks to secure the lid to the bin itself. So if you have a family that needs their toxins locked, these are larger items like the bleach, the paint thinner, the bug killer, the weed killer, things like that. It's usually stored in the garage, and we will provide the locks for that as well.
Magnetic cabinet locks. These are the kind that you install onto the back of the inside the cabinet, and then you swipe a magnet over and it opens the door. These are fine for your kitchen, like under your sink when you're going to have your cleaning supplies and those kinds of things. We need you to tell us how many doors that we have to have. They come, I think the smallest size is 2. So if you tell us there's 1 cabinet, we're going to send you 2. Same with most items. If there's 5, we'll probably round up to 6. But you don't need them for all the cabinets in your kitchen. You just need them for the ones that have things that are toxic in them. Or maybe you want 2 in your kitchen and 1 in your bathroom, or 1 in a laundry room or something like that. That's fine, but we don't need to do it on all the cabinets. Also, teenagers know how to use those magnet things. So it's not really securing those for teens, unfortunately. So we do, if you see on the very bottom of the list, we see exterior cabinet locks for children over age 6. So if they have older kids and we're needing to lock things, those are exterior cabinets. So they kind of adhere to the door and the base. And then there's actually a keyed lock to open those. So you can request those way down the bottom. They're just situated in a different space on the list. That'll probably change when we update our list at the first of the year, but for now they're at the bottom. So we just wanted to highlight both of those items for locking just your cleaning supplies and those kinds of things in your home.
Yeah, and I really recommend the toddler locks for toddlers. And once a kid is like 6, 7, 8, to use those other locks that are the exterior if possible. Let's talk about gun safety. We provide hard-shelled gun cases with locks for large firearms, and we provide drawer safes for the pistols and handguns. We do need specifics on the gun and the size, whether or not it has a scope and things like that. So we can get the right size to make sure the gun will fit in the case. If there are multiple guns, and it would be better financially for us to just buy a larger safe than to buy 5 or 6 gun cases, then we will get a small wall safe for the larger guns. But if a family only has a few large guns, we do tend to go with the hard shell gun cases, which meet the OLR standard. And we provide all the locks that go with those cases as well.
Trigger locks. Well, they are not required by OLR. Some agencies are still requiring them, and some families are requesting them because it does make the gun a little bit safer. And we will provide a universal trigger lock if you request it in addition.
Yes, I just want to clarify those decorative gun cases with the glass fronts. Even if they have a lock, they will still not be meeting the safety standard. So the family would have to remove the firearms from the gun case, the decorative gun case, and store them elsewhere. We're just going to jump right on to the pool safety supplies, which is the ring buoy and the shepherd's hook. We will provide those for pools that are over 6 feet deep. So it's very important that you verify the depth of your family's pool. Please do not just look out the window, see they have a pool, and automatically assume it's deep enough to require these. They're expensive items. They're difficult to get to the families. So we do ask that you verify the depth of the pool. If there's a diving board, you can be pretty sure it's over 6 feet. If there's a diving rock at the deep end, you can pretty much be sure it's over 6 feet. But if the foster parent is a 5'2" mom who says she can stand up in the deep end with her head above water, please do not put in a request for these. It is a complicated process to get it to the family, but we do work with them individually when an order does come through where a family does in fact need those.
Well water tests. Okay, this is for all you workers in the rural areas. Shout out to all rural Arizona, but For homes that are using well water specifically, OLR does require that the water be tested and meet certain specifications. So we will be happy to pay for a well water test. We have providers all around the state that we will pay for those tests. So if you check that off, we'll be working with the family directly, and we'll contact the family for all the specifics that we need for that. Just check it off if the family's home is dependent on well water.
The next couple items are the beds. You may have noticed on our form that we do not have twin beds listed and we do not have cribs listed. The only items we have are bunk bed and toddler bed. I have had people request a toddler bed for a 3-month-old because we don't have cribs listed. Please don't do that. We are happy to provide toddler beds for toddlers. I would say they need to be 4 or under. Once they're 4, they're starting to outgrow a toddler bed. The bunk beds, the child on the top bunk has to be over the age of 6. They have to have already reached their 6th birthday to be on the top bunk. So the reason we do not have twin beds and cribs on our list is because there are other nonprofits in both Tucson and the Phoenix metro area that provide those for foster children. So we like to fill in each other's gaps and let them take care of the twin beds and the cribs. We'll take care of the bunk beds and the toddler beds. If you have a family in the middle of nowhere in a rural area, and it would be time intensive for them to try to get to another nonprofit to pick up those items, we have made exceptions and shipped those items to families in rural areas, but those are the exception. When ordering a bunk bed, there has to be at least 2 children in the home. So even if the foster child is sharing with a cousin or another grandchild in the home, that's fine. It doesn't have to be 2 foster children sharing the bunk bed, but don't order a bunk bed for 1 child because they like to have sleepovers and have a friend over, and it's nice to have an extra bed. Also, please do not request trundle beds, triple bunk beds, porta cribs, futons, pull-out sofa beds, because none of those meet the OLR standard. Foster children are not allowed to be in a temporary bed situation, and they consider trundle beds and pull-out sofas not for long-term use, so we will not provide those. Even if a family's not interested in getting licensed, we still adhere to the licensing standard for every family.
We also ask that the family get their mattresses from the Foster Alliance or More Than a Bed and in the urban areas. So we will ship a mattress to someone in a rural area that doesn't have access to those resources, but if they can get that from those resources, that's where we ask the family to get their mattresses.
Yes, and if they are transitioning a child from a crib to a toddler bed, the toddler bed mattress is the crib mattress. So if you have a crib mattress in good condition, you don't need to request one. You don't even need to go to the Foster Alliance and get another one. You can just use that one. Our bunk beds are not the super deluxe with drawers and ports and slides and full on the bottom and twin on the top. You know, we have a very standard basic metal bunk bed that through trial and error, we have found to be the sturdiest for our foster kiddos. So that's what the family will get. And if they have a choice in bedding, if they have a preference, this kid is into sports or likes mermaids or Pokemon, you know, we're happy to provide the design for the bedding that the child would like. But there are not a lot of choices in the bunk beds. For families in apartments with low ceilings or in an older home with low ceilings, there is a Space Savers model that is lower to the ground. It's still the same size as far as the width and the length of the bed. It's just a little bit lower. And that works out good if there's a ceiling fan. So if you know of special circumstances, just put that in the additional information section, along with the preference of bedding designs.
OLR does require that a child have a place to put their belongings. So we will provide a plastic drawer unit. They're not fancy, they're just the plastic ones. And they're not super big either, but we typically provide one per child. If it's maybe a child has a lot of clothes or teenager, we'll provide two upon request, or maybe it's a baby that you need spaces to put diapers and those things. So we will provide two upon request, but typically one per child. They are the plastic and they're a little bit see-through-y. So I know some families will put like wrapping paper on the inside or shelf paper so that they're a little more decorative or it's a little more private. So, but we will provide those plastic door units. Just put the number of that you need in the notes.
Okay, the next item is the outlet covers, and these are actually the little plugs that go into the outlet to safeguard little fingers. They're for toddlers. If you have children school-aged and above, you don't need them in the home. They're not required by OLR. They're just a nice to have safety extra. This is not to be confused with a plate cover that goes around the entire electrical outlet. We're talking for this item, just the plugs that keep fingers and forks from going in. If you have a family that took off all their wall plates when they painted and they forgot where they put them, or they lost them, or they're broken, or they're cracked and there's wires exposed, we can help with those, but that's a different item. So you would need to put that in the other items needed or other help needed section of the form if they actually need plate covers.
So we've already talked about exterior cabinet locks. So let's talk about those other items. Typical items might include gates for the stairs, like a gate at the top or bottom of stairs. So that's something we will provide if it's needed. What are some other things, Jenny?
Some agencies require an escape ladder for a second or third floor. I don't get that request very often, but once in a while that will come through. Another common item that's requested is the surge protector, which looks like just an extension cord with extra plugs, but it's an upgraded one that actually will be important if a family's plugging a lot of things into one power strip.
Trampoline pads?
Oh, yeah, for the spring, to cover the springs. That is a requirement. And again, we have to have real specific information of the size and the shape of the trampoline so that we order the correct dimensions. Sometimes people will ask for anchors for their swing set so that it's anchored to the ground for extra safety. Those are, a fireplace needs to have a screen to keep sparks from flying out. Many fireplaces have those built in with a little curtain that kind of comes out, but if it's an older fireplace or it was not included, we can provide a very basic, again, it's not going to be decorative, but a very basic safety screen to go across the front of that fireplace.
So we are only going to provide items that are outlined in the OLR Life Safety Inspection Guide. So that's important that you know that document really well. And so we're not going to be providing a high chair or a stroller. We don't do clothing or birthday gifts.
Laptops, baby swings, potty chairs, furniture, a desk, a nightstand. Someone asked for a TV stand. A lot of people are asking for household items like pots and pans and towels and things like that. When I can't provide those, which none of those are required by OLR, people will ask for new appliances, a broken washer and dryer they want replaced. You know, we don't do any sort of appliance repair or replacement. I will refer to other nonprofits that I'm aware of that might help with those, but those are out of our lane.
One resource is that the DCS worker can submit a request through the care portal. And so that is something to keep in mind as well, as a resource for families that are really needing some of those household basics.
Be careful filling it out that you're on the right line with the right thing next to it. And you don't need to put zeros where you're not getting anything. Just find the line where you want something and then put the new numeral next to it. And then there is a comment section right next to it if you have a comment about that particular item.
And give us as much detail as you can, especially in those comment sections. We do pay close attention to that if there are specifics around a particular item. And particularly for those car seats and the guns, and then the bedding requests. So those are the key ones that we're often having to recontact a family, call you back. Anytime we have to double check on these things, it just takes longer to fulfill the request. And we really want requests to go out as soon as possible. That's a big value of ours.
I think that covers everything, Alice.
All right, great.